Good Lord, have we got a long list today. This is going to be a big one. I have a coworker who has been watching the annoying things tier list videos, and they have come up with a very, very long list, which they wrote on a piece of cardboard that they found. And they've got some very good items on here, such as inappropriately timed phone calls, which of course have made a cameo appearance on this stream many, many times. Loud chewers, people who drive around with their blinker on all the time, finding that your food is stale, car trouble. There's a whole bunch of stuff on this list, and it's been a minute since we've done it. But we do have Harley and Zindy at the ready to jump on this momentarily. Um, Let me go ahead and get the tier list up, and we'll get started with it. Where is it? I have it. I know I do. Minimize several thousand windows. There it is. All right. Where is the grand big picture with all of the stuff on it? I know I have it. Let's see. View large icons. Hmm. There it is. This is where we're at thus far. We have the highway department being broke, poop, screaming babies, mobile ads, and somebody spelled ads wrong, which is why it's somebody in the chat spelled it wrong. The existence of deer. Get a better pointer here. There we go. We have secondhand smoke, snack bag full of air, sneezing repeatedly, I think. No, that was in the first video. Um, don't remember what that is. Falling? Broken glasses, unable to see when there's not a toilet nearby, ear piercing, election season. Uh, I'm forgetting. We've added so many things to this list. I'm starting to forget what they were. Background music on YouTube videos, pallet jacks, when there's not enough toilet paper, the World of Warcraft community, dust, skibbity toilet, being bored, having a stomach ache, when your sporting team loses, something about game controllers breaking, hangnail, uh, people who yell, I guess. Music? I don't remember what this is. Uh, Being in line at the supermarket, being woken up in the middle of the night, farting, or no, body odor. Windows, when your shoe gets wet, when you're laying down in a crib and looking at your stomach while holding Mentos, don't know what that is. Um, the bottom of your foot, people who look down their nose at you, hot stuff, broken reeds on woodwinds instruments, weevils, getting your order wrong, the warm side of a pillow, me, red lights, people who peek out of doors at you, unevenly lengthed bootlaces, when it gets hot, the language barrier, cutting your finger with a pair of scissors, people with mohawks, when the wind blows over potted plants, your hand, Teslas, damaged buckets, playing against players who are younger than you or less skilled, having a question, love, whatever that means, red families, and SpongeBob's ripped pants. All right. If you are lost, so am I. It's been too long since we've done this. I have not gone back and watched any of the stream recordings over again to see what they are, but if that was confusing, just watch the other stuff that we've done, as I'm going to immediately after this. Let me see if the boys are here. Hello? This is where I
Hello.
realize as I look back through the tier list that I've completely forgotten over half of these items.
Mm. Well,
Like, I'm
well,
looking
that
at
should
the
be in the tier
icons
list.
and it doesn't make any sense. I even skipped loose doorknobs.
Yeah, the music one was I needed music in shorts and in
Gotcha.
videos.
Okay. I thought that was what was in C, because background music on YouTube videos was here.
Oh,
But,
maybe
yeah,
just you
like
didn't like the way the treble clef looked.
Christian Bale sticking up out of a toilet. I mean, looking at the bottom of my foot. Uh, the dude laying down in the crib. Um,
I just realized you got two
Ahain
musical
de
notes.
Gwine de Gim in Hang, that's you. Oh, I remember this. It's whenever people pretend to mishear you so that they could say something that they think is funny, but they do it constantly and it
Mockery.
wasn't funny for, the first 20 times they did it. That's what that
Oh,
was.
Rain, you wouldn't forget what the tier list options were if you watched the video.
That is true, but I generally don't watch my own videos over and over again.
Do you not get notifications when Rainfall posts?
No, I don't.
It's good
Must
to
be
watch your own
something with the
videos.
system.
Make
See
sure
what
you
you
hit
don't
that
like
bell.
and reproduce or not reproduce.
Mm-hmm. All right, so the first item on the list was drivers who do not turn off their high beams. I didn't think this was that big of a deal, and I really, for the longest time, didn't notice that people just don't turn off their high beams as I'm driving through. I guess my eyes got used to it, and so I kind of expected if there's a car coming, their headlights are blinding me. I was riding with my sister to a hockey game in Savannah, the Savannah Ghost Pirates, about a month ago, and as we're driving there, these little back roads and stuff, my sister is flashing her brights at people as we're driving through. And I'm like, why are you doing that? And she did it to one of the cars, and I noticed after she flashed the brights at them, suddenly their headlights got a lot dimmer. And she's like, "You don't realize just how many dumbasses don't remember to turn off their high beams as they're driving towards you."
But that was
As
like an unwritten, just common sense thing people did.
apparently not, because I've tried it myself recently driving home after work, since I get home after dark, or even driving in the morning and passing somebody. And if it hurts to look at the road, then I just turn on my high beams. I don't flash, I just turn them on, and usually the other person does, in fact, turn off the brights. And I just didn't realize that headlights weren't that bright, I guess. I just thought my eyes were that sensitive. But it can be very painful and it can be very dangerous to be staring into the sun.
I'm more bothered by people driving behind me with their headphones on, or if they're at the right level where it gets in my mirrors. I know that's not something you face because you have a lifted, well, not lifted, but you have a taller truck.
Oh,
But
but if a semi does it, oh yeah, I can be vulnerable to that as well.
yeah,
Normally,
it's
I
when
don't
when
mind
they're
it.
at the perfect height to blind me at a stoplight. I just cannot.
I don't mind it usually unless they've got like those, what are they, the LEDs, like the old style lights never bothered me, but the newer style lights that have the they magnify the light and all that other garbage. They drive me bonkers when they're on the highway, especially the back roads here. I live in the boonies, so we get idiots that come around the bend and blind you, and it gets worse if it's in the wintertime because if you get that salt that dries on your windshield, and you're unable to wipe off the salt for some reason or another, and you get those high beams. It's just completely blind. You can't see past it at all. It's just a shield of white.
Well, I don't feel like this. I mean, I don't like driving. Everybody knows I do not like driving. It is my least favorite thing to do. It is very dangerous. There's no reason to have to do it, but we do it anyways because we're stupid. So I would be inclined to rank this as worse because it just makes an already dangerous task much, much worse. But I feel like my opinion of it would be more hostile than the average person's. So, Zindi, how badly do you hate it whenever people don't turn off their bright lights?
Um, it falls dead center between an F and a C.
Mm. Okay.
Because it depends on the time of year. Like if it's like I said, if it's the winter time, it's an F. If it's summer or whatever, I don't have problems with stuff coming up on my windshield and it's not raining or whatever. It's a C. But it can become deadly with, like I said, with the rain or the sleet or the snow or ice.
We get with that here too. When it gets really humid and all the windows fog, bright lights can be very dangerous.
Well, they make
So
you
you
frost
gotta-
for that. You're not supposed to do heavy breathing in your cab there, Harley.
Well, I can't help that.
Mm.
Sorry, Zendi.
In through the nose, out through the mouth. No, sorry.
So, Harley, would you agree with a C ranking?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, C is full, so I've got to shrink the size of the icons again. How do I do that again? Yep. This.
What happened to D?
There is no D. There's never been a D. You silly.
Got him.
Then this. Shrink that down to the appropriate size. There we go. And then fill this back in. Woo! That's the noise I make when I mess up. There we go. All right, so putting that in C, and then we have people who bum a cigarette off of you. I don't think either one of you smoke, and I don't think either one of you ever care to.
Nope.
Now, I did smoke for a while. Didn't really have people bumming cigarettes off of me, but once I got a vape, oh honey, everybody wants to hold my vape. And there was this one guy, Carlos, that worked on a job site with me. Saying Carlos because I don't remember his actual name and I don't want to like dox the dude. But this guy was always approaching me, asking me to borrow my vape. And so for the first couple times I was like, all right, yeah, you can have my vape. You can borrow it. Yeah, whatever. Just take a puff off of it. Just please don't put your actual mouth on it. You know, wrap your hand around it like this and then hit the fire button and go. That way it's sanitary. But it was the 7th or 8th time that he came and asked me for it that I started to get sick of it. But rather than doing the smart thing and just saying, hey man, quit being poor, like, buy your own crap, I decided that I was going to get silly with it. And there was a jar sitting on a desk next to my work area. I grabbed the jar, unscrewed the lid. Jar was empty. Exhaled a whole bunch of vape down into it. And then whenever he came over and was like, hey, can I borrow your vape? Yeah, I unscrewed the jar and then like threw a big cloud in his face and told him to inhale, and he got mad at me. And yeah, he was fired for unrelated reasons about 3 weeks later. But yeah, that was about the only time that I've had an experience with somebody constantly hammering me for my nicotine. So since neither one of you smoke, I guess I just have to do this myself.
I give it an S.
You give it an S. Harley?
It
All
does
the way at the
sound
bottom.
frustrating because I mean you're paying for that and they're just using it.
Right. I'm
Well,
gonna put it.
I can relate in other things. You know, with if I've got a fridge full of beer and I got friends over, and they just keep taking the beer over and over again without ever bringing anything to the house, you know, or whatever. Doesn't have to be
Generally, the
beer,
idea of people like using your
Just
resources
taking
with
something.
zero compensation. Yeah.
yeah, and that's frustrating. So I'll probably agree with you, whatever you put that.
I'll put it in S just because it doesn't happen very often. When it does happen, usually I'm okay with it. If someone asks too often, I tell them to quit. I tell them to just go make money, buy their own crap. But yeah, that was something that upset my coworker quite a bit. I also spelled cigarette wrong on the list I see now. Can I paste this image without messing up? No, not that. Copy this image. Now paste this image. That is absolutely massive. I took a picture of myself holding my vape, and good lord, this is huge. Okay, yeah, that goes in S because it's
Loaf.
just too easy to not worry about. There we go. Okay.
Does your vape play video games by chance?
No, but I have seen some that have calculators on them. Because, yeah, that's something certainly need to have. The phrase, sorry, we're out of that item. My
Wow.
mother is a couponer from way back. She had a YouTube channel for a long time that got up to 10,000 subscribers off of couponing videos. And there is a store in town that banned her from videoing at their store or featuring anything from their store in any of her videos because there were several videos straight where she went to the store to do her couponing shenanigans and they were out of basically every item she went in there to get because a couponer would have, like back in the day whenever couponing was actually possible, would lay out their battle plan for the day of which stores they're going to visit, which coupons they're going to use, coupled with which sales are going on, buy one, get one frees, that sort of thing. And they would come up with a plan of attack, go to the store, grab everything that they would need to get, and then use coupons, digital coupons, bring out the sale paper, that kind of thing. But this one store, they were just always out of everything. Never had what she wanted. The shelves were eternally empty. And it was a big store. And they didn't like that she did 3 straight videos where she went to their store and yeah, they don't have what she's looking for and they viewed it as bad advertising. Even though it was true that they were a bunch of lazy sacks of garbage who didn't do the one simple job that they have of keep their store stocked, which as a guy who used to work in grocery, I can tell you, it's not that damn hard. You're just fucking lazy. Yeah, they banned my mother from videoing in their store. And they didn't change managers for quite a while. So for a long time that was just constantly a problem.
I love that for her. Not that she got banned, but that she had that much influence.
Yeah, she had a lot of people recognizing her from her YouTube channel whenever she would go into stores and stuff.
That's cool.
Zindi?
I mean, it's annoying when it happens, but for me, it's like I'll find something else usually, or
Gotcha.
just go somewhere else.
So if you went in for, say, several packs of toilet paper that were on sale, name brand toilet paper that, for some strange reason, this 8-pack of toilet paper has been marked down to $3, whereas it's normally, I don't know, 8 or 9. But you go in there and they're out of it, so now you have to settle for the other brand, which is like 10. And you're just fine with that?
Well, like I said, I go to another location. Usually, there's more sales more than one place, so I go to wherever else was having the sale. If it wasn't having a sale, then I just asked for give me a rain check. If you can't give me a rain check, well then I missed out. Apparently, I guess I was just too slow.
Harley.
Now I will tell you what's more annoying is when you, that I sorry we're out of it when you go onto like an online website to order something, whether it be clothing or whatever, and all the bots buy it out, or like if you're trying to get like a new game system like a PS5 or like a Switch or like something like that, and all of those the bots auto buy them before anybody can actually purchase them. That's annoying.
The legendary scalpers, you say?
Yep.
Yeah, I guess similar experience. Don't really, not
And then
too
you see
bothered
the-
by it, but I mean, it is what it is. What can you really do?
It's kind of why I
Well,
stopped playing consoles.
you can get extremely mad at them. what you
That's
can
true.
do.
It's true. Yes, I do choose to not be happy when I could be angry
That's good.
instead.
That's good. I'm glad, man. I'm proud to hear that.
Yes.
Myself, I am also of the mindset that if they're out of it, I'll just get something else. But because screw that store for, first of all, always being out of the stuff that my mama wanted to get, and also banning my mother from videoing in their store, I'm going to put it in a B, and also, fuck that store. Didn't
Were they a
deserve to
national
have
chain or were
my
they just like a mom
mama's.
and pop?
No, it's a national chain. Did not deserve to have my mama's business. Did nothing to earn it, and still acted like that over her
Was
videos.
it the Piggly? Was it the Piggly Wiggly?
No, all Piggly Wigglies in this area shut down like 10 years ago.
Oh, I thought they were still a thing.
No, we used to have one in Old Pooler, and then in Garden City, the infamous Piggly Wiggly right next to a railroad that
What?
was always a pain to try and get in and out of.
Winn-Dixie, Publix, and
Yeah, we got Winn-Dixie.
Food Lion.
Winn-Dixie kind of went out, but we've got in our area right now, as of 2025, we've got Walmart, Bilo, Food Lion, Kroger,
Yep.
Publix. I think I said, and that's pretty much it. Like you got
Some
Dollar
people-
Generals
someplace down there
everywhere.
of Wegmans, but
Well, that's where people go to wag things. Inappropriately timed phone calls.
Oh, you're a crusader of that, ain't you?
give me a second. I gotta go make a phone call.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I am a magnet for phone calls at the dumbest possible times. If I'm in the shower, if I'm up on a scissor lift, if I'm hitting the gritty, it doesn't matter what I'm doing. If it requires my attention, somebody's going to call me, and it comes to a zenith the moment that I sit in this chair. Ever since I sat down, I have had 6 text messages. It's been 26 minutes. I have had 6 text messages since I sat down. You haven't heard the notification because today I got a little bit wise and I decided let me mute my phone before I start. The quickest, like, man, if I am bleeding to death, all I've got to do is I don't need to bandage myself. I don't need to tourniquet anything. I don't need to pour any clotting agent on. All I got to do is fire up a video game, and I'll have 7 people call me, and I can immediately ask for help. That's all I got to do. Just as sure as walking around in your yard naked means that you'll have like a funeral procession go by, the quickest and easiest way to get a phone call is to try and do anything that is relaxing, unwinding, generally unplugging from the world and plugging into the internet. That is the quickest way to get attention. And I am predisposed to put this in F tier because of how vehemently and violently I hate this. But I'm willing to be swayed either way. 7 now, Zindy. Thanks for
Hey,
the
that took a
text.
while to get to you. But yeah, no, I agree with F because every time I'm in some doctor's visit or I'm in somewhere where I'm like in an appointment or you doing a interview of some type, they can call you all times of the day or any day of the week, when you're free, and they don't call you, and then all of a sudden it's like you get 15 calls sometimes after you told the person even that I'm going to be busy, please don't call me, they'll still do it. So yeah, I would agree with the F because that gets very, very annoying quick.
Harley?
So, I, for inconvenient phone calls, yeah, I would say F. But they rarely happen for me. Usually because I'm the one usually calling people. So they
Aha!
don't call me.
We found the culprit!
Oh no. Uh-oh.
You put
Harley
a
and
picture
F
of
here.
Harley.
Yep, for Harley and F here. Oh jeez. No, I keep up with phone calls. I call people all the time. Unless the people who don't like being called, which case they don't get called.
Mm-hmm. 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 Well, I'm going to be putting this in F. I'm tired of getting phone calls whenever I try to stream, whenever I do anything with YouTube at all. It's not, I don't blame people for doing it. They can't, like, look through my walls and see whenever I'm sitting down and need to be, need to be undisturbed, but it sure feels like they do. Because they have absolutely meticulous timing. And it's everybody. It's my family, it's my coworkers, my boss, telemarketers, the president. Oh my goodness.
When that guy calls.
Mm-hmm. Black Friday madness. Anybody
F.
shop on Black Friday?
I don't.
I don't either. This doesn't
But I
affect
work
me.
retail during Black Friday.
Aha. Well, I also worked retail during Black Friday, but then again, I worked at a grocery store. I didn't work where generally Black Friday tends to be horrendous, I guess, because a grocery store, like, nobody's fist fighting each other over gallons of milk. So, what did you see during Black Friday shenanigans?
What didn't I see? People trying to rip each other apart over a $5 item. Uh, Having to be in at 3 a.m. At the store, and then not leaving until almost midnight from cleanup the next day. People trying to then return the item on that day to get the money back when it's an item that's a special item that's only there because of Black Friday and something that we didn't normally carry. So there was no return. We could return it, but we couldn't give them an exchange or anything. And then they would want rain checks. That was always the fun one. No, it says limited time only. There's only one customer, and then you got the customers that want to buy like 15 of them. Yeah, it's just a pain. On top of it, the traffic's horrible. Lines to try to if you work that, make sure you bring your own lunch. Because otherwise, if you don't bring your lunch and you try to go to anywhere, you won't get anything because it takes 2 hours to get through a McDonald's drive-through.
So, are you sure it needs to go in F? Because, like I said,
Oh.
it doesn't affect me at all because I don't shop on Black Friday.
For me, it was a complete and utter F.
So one thing I want to say, Ryan, why don't you shop on Black Friday? Because it's annoying to shop on Black Friday.
Because I
There's
don't
your reason.
really shop at all.
Well,
Black Friday trampolines were killed by Amazon, damn you, Bezos. That's another one. See, like, if I do need to buy something, I just buy it online. And I don't get exposed to the shenanigans that occurs in in-person Black Friday shopping. Amazon is a very good example of that.
I think the I think the pandemic kind of killed that as well. It helped to stick that dagger in even further in.
Yeah. Yeah.
People just don't want to go out anymore. I mean, I remember like, and I'm no lie. I mean, I would leave the day before, and I worked at Staples at this point. I would leave work the night before at like 6, 7 o'clock, and people would be lined up outside waiting for a $250 flat screen TV that was such this biggest garbage TV in the world. And they wait out there, and then show up at 3 a.m. These people are still there. We open the floodgates. They trample each other in there to get to the TV because there's only 5 of them. And then 4 of them come back because they're this cheap TV that nobody's ever heard of, the brand name nobody's ever heard of, and it lasted 15 minutes for their kid.
Black Friday will go in F tier, even though it doesn't affect me at all. I'll respect Zindy's authoritative opinion on it, having been exposed to it himself, and we will move on to muscle aches, which just got suggested. Zindy, you're the oldest one here. You start.
I mean, I haven't. Well, I don't know. They're tolerable. I mean, it's not like I usually don't wake up with muscle aches. I have bulging discs in my back. That's what I'm waking up with. So that doesn't usually bother me too much. In fact, I sometimes give that as a, hey, my knee hurts. My back doesn't hurt. I'll take that as a win. So, I mean, but when I was in sports in high school and stuff, it was, I mean, I don't know. It was the worst I ever got was like maybe a B tier. It wasn't.
Oddly enough, that is the rating that was set, at least a B tier. I am young enough to remember the days whenever I could turn my head without feeling a pop. And compare that to now and be sad that those times are fast disappearing. Working in construction is already very hard on the body, regardless of which trade you're in. And being an electrician, I regularly have to lift things that are 50 pounds, in excess of 50 pounds. And I don't work out at all, period. Because I do not feel compelled to do so. I view it as a waste of time. And so, because of that, my lifting capacity and capabilities stay exactly as they are, if not erode over time. So, yeah, if I go and I lift a panel can up onto the wall and hold it there while I'm screwing it in, the next day I wake up and I say ouch the moment my foot hits the floor. And then oof the moment that I touch the doorknob to open it. And then the moment my small but supple butt cheeks hit the seat of my truck as I'm preparing to go to work again. I don't know how much worse it's going to get. I hope it isn't going to get too much worse. But it is painful. It is distracting. It is demoralizing. And you have enough of muscles hurting, it can cause a headache. And I'm sure that there's something I could probably do about it, but I refuse to change the situation because that would require effort to be input, and I just don't have that effort available. Harley?
Hmm. I don't get muscle aches, but I do get muscle soreness from the gym. Hamstrings have been absolutely killing me. I didn't even hardly get any sleep last night because of it. So I would count that pretty irritating. Um,
Okay.
I mean, about as annoying as not getting sleep is.
Gotcha. So would you agree with the B rating as well? Because that's something Zindy said, and that's what was said in the chat.
Sure.
Okay. We'll put muscle aches in a B. And I'm going to go to Reddit so I can get a copyright-free image.
It'll cost 50,000 karma.
Let's see. Need something that's actually descriptive. There we go. Copy this. And here's the image, and we will put it in B. Thank you for the suggestion. There we go. All right, next on the list is engagement bait conversations. My silence is your cue. What this is whenever these children-minded adults walk up to you and are like, my favorite example of this is guess what? And then they leave it hanging. Or, can I ask you something? Or something that generally is a dependent clause or an interrogative phrase that is stated, and it's like setting a hook. And it makes me vehemently angry. I hate it so much. It's an insult to my intelligence. It's disrespectful. If you have something you want to say, don't drag me into it. Say it, and then I'll decide if I give a fuck or not. That's the proper way to have a conversation with somebody, is just spit it the fuck out. Don't require my input, because if I don't intend to engage with you, I will ignore you. But if I find that what you're saying is pertinent or important to me in some way, then I will engage of my own volition. Just spit it out, bro. Harley?
I've never thought about it like that. And I think I am one of your number one causes to hate this, because I do
You
that all the
have
fucking
been
time.
an offender in the past, yes, but you were definitely not number one. Oh, believe me, you are not number one. I've had bosses who it's like a fucking mind game just trying to rip information out of them. But you really haven't
I don't know
had
if I have
people doing that with you?
anything to add to, I don't really notice it.
Zindy?
If it does happen, it happens.
Typically, I just say what I want to say. So,
But you don't
I
have
mean-
people who are like, oh, by the way, and then they just don't fucking complete it because they're waiting for you to say what?
typically, people who, well, yes, in work situations, but anybody who would know me would not do that because they'll know I walk away from it because I get bored too quick. I don't got time to listen to you. If you don't tell me what you want to tell me, I don't have time to play the game.
Yep, I absolutely hate it, resent it. There is no justification to do it. It's from I guess just a lack of understanding of how to like communicate with people. And I can't find a picture that is non-sexualized that I could use whenever I type in the word engagement or the words engagement bait.
Yeah.
I guess I could put a picture.
Just put a white background. And guess who's engaged? Well, actually, it should be guess who or guess what. ... I'm engaged.
What if it's a child that's asking guess what? In that case, it's fine because they're young enough where they haven't learned how to properly communicate. If it's a child, oh, I'll play right into that. They say, "Guess what? Oh, I'm gonna be asking what with wide eyes and bated breath." But for an adult, you had your time where it was innocent. You had your chance to be excusably stupid. Now you can grow up and just talk. If it's
The
a
only
child,
other
it's fine.
exception I allow for that is like somebody who's mentally slow.
I'm gonna put this in C, and it's just
Yeah,
it's gonna be a square that says guess what in it, because I just couldn't find a picture, and I'm not going to buy a picture because people don't need to be selling pictures. The picture is huge. It's huge. There we go. That's the image. That is the tier list icon. Right there in C. All right. Bugs, soft locks, and forgetting to save. Generally, whenever you're playing a game and you hit a snag that prevents you from progressing and trying to, and the idea of, oh, I'll just quit and restart, and it's going to be a mountain of time and a mountain of progress that you have to reacquire in order to get to where you just were, to overcome that. Most recent example that I had being Firewatch, where I got to the tent where they were monitoring the two people, and there was a bug that prevented me from progressing, and it was like 4 or 5 hours into the game. But as it turns out, I had saved recently, so I was able to restart from a recent save point. But if I hadn't, ooh. Did I get disconnected?
No.
Hmm.
I'm thinking about a soft lock I might have experienced as recently. Don't really know of any that I've realistically even encountered.
So for me, the worst one I've ever had was the Elden Ring seamless co-op mod, where we'd killed Elden Beast. Me and Velinord had killed the Elden Beast, and we're ready to go into the DLC content, having killed Moog, and my save file got corrupted, and it's completely unreclaimable and unfixable. I was level 145, and I had best in slot equipment for a mage, and it ended my run because I can't access it anymore. And I've tried a whole bunch of stuff to fix it. One day I spent over 5 hours running through forums and subreddits and cleaning and repairing and backing up files and reclaiming old backups. And then Velinar did try to take a look at it himself, and he actually, in the process, wound up deleting his own save file.
Oh, jeez.
So, whenever it happens, it doesn't happen very often, but whenever it happens, it is soul crushing. Because we put so much effort and so much time and invest so much emotional value in our games and our progression in them, at least I do, that it's like being stabbed in the heart. I hate it so much. I do know that Velinard, you did recover yours. Not sure if it's because I can read. What do you mean by that? Huh? What do you mean by that?
Not sure if it's because you could read.
Oh. Interesting that I read your comment that says that. Losing game time to soft locks or forgetting to save is an F. I'm yeah, I'm kind of in that boat because I mean, like all the time and all the effort and all the thinking and the creating. Like a good example being Factorio. If I were to sit there and build and build and build, and I go from I just crash landed my Aurora on the planet to now I'm making purple science, and then like the power goes out or something, and my auto saves didn't like upload to cloud storage, and so they're all lost. So all of that time and all of that invention and all of that effort and the creation and the accomplishments and killing bug nests and all of that work gone. An entire 8 to 10 hours of my day lost. That is unreal. Can't do it. I can't stand it.
I remember back in the day when we didn't have a save file because you had a Nintendo or a Super Nintendo and there was no save option, and you used to have to leave that crap paused for the entire day through hope that your mom, dad, or somebody else didn't turn that son of a bitch off. Because if they turned that off, you lost hours. There was no way of getting back to it unless you did it all over the start. So yes, I feel that I know what that pain is like in another aspect from an older time, but I usually just save everything I have and I back it up. So, but I would say for me it's like I would say it's a C.
I want to put it in F because it is pure pain. There is no way to make it feel better. There's no way to compensate for it. There's nothing that I am completely inconsolable. If I even like not even working on like not playing video games, but like working on a Word document. If I typed 4,000 words and I forgot to save, and like my computer restarts, or especially a power outage, because power outages that kills everything. And a lot of times it boots back up and it says, well, Windows couldn't recover all of the data. And that document's just lost. All that work is lost. It's just such a slap in the face from the universe. I hate it. I hate it. I'm putting it in F. It's going.
I'll never forget when my brother, he was had one of the first Pokemon games, which has a CR2025 battery in it to hold the save file. Battery died on it. I mean, he had hundreds of hours in this darn Pokemon game and lost everything. He just went complete ape shit.
I had a Game Boy Color with the Super Mario Deluxe cartridge in it, and it had a button cell battery built into it. Thank you for the 3 likes on the stream. Appreciate that. Had a button cell battery built into it to retain the memory. And I am scared to boot it up because I had completely beaten that game. That was the game that introduced red coins. The 5 red coins that are like hidden on the map. I think the Wii brought them up to 8 red coins or something. But I completely beat the fire out of that game. And if I go back into it and it's all gone, I'm going to be sad. Your videos are hilarious from Australia. I had videos in Australia?
Yeah, I was there.
What
Damn,
are you not telling me, Rain?
I thought I made them in America. Shit, okay. I get around more than I thought I did. I'm joking, Adrian. Thank you so much, buddy. Appreciate you. Thank you, bud. So yeah, then we put forgetting to save an F, and that's where that belongs. Cat fights. They're loud.
Well, are they talking about cat fights? Like
No, actual
fights,
cats
like-
fighting.
okay.
Whenever we still had our other cat, Sophia, we were taking care of her for it was like maybe a week. And we have another cat here already, Sadie. She's a fucking mess. They would constantly fight because Sadie would chase her around and just antagonize her all day. And Sophia wasn't, the confrontational type cat, I suppose. So she would just be growling all the time, all day, all night. It was the longest week I've ever had with those fucking cats. Hated that shit.
My grandmother used to wake up quite often to the sound of cats fighting outside. And she told me a story about how she fixed it. And granted, this was my grandmother back in the 70s and 80s. My grandmother's a very good woman. She's a very nice woman. She wouldn't hurt a fly. If she saw a cat nowadays, she'd try and pet it. Back then, these things were waking her up at midnight, and she had a very stressful government job, like city, state government job, and she was not a fan of cats. And she discovered that there is a fluid that you put into your car that can make cats shut up for good. And so she would leave that liquid readily available for the cats to be shut up by. which is extremely illegal. It's animal abuse. And yeah, that story traumatized me of how she handled cats. Um, and crazy thing is, her yard is covered in cats now.
They've come to hunt her.
Yeah, yeah, it's pretty spoopy. But yeah, cats fighting. The only time I've actually seen it happen was out on a job site. There were like stray cats that came onto the job and were getting really loud, beating the crap out of each other, and they both ran off running the same direction. Almost like they came to a gentleman's agreement and then agreed to go their separate ways, but both walked the same way. It was hilarious. Cats are so stupid. I would never have a cat. If I can't milk an animal or get eggs from an animal, there's no reason for me to have that animal. Cats are the exact same thing. And if I go to pet a cat on the head, it's not going to try and pet me back. So I have no use for cats. But because I don't really hear cat fights too often, I'm going to put this in A unless Harley can swing me a different direction.
Say
Uh,
that's for me. So
Okay.
yeah, no, it wasn't really that bad. It was just like a quick stop it. I'll spray you if you don't stop. Okay, I'm spraying you. Now it's done.
we'll spray each other in a fight.
So you'll agree with an A.
Yeah.
Hate cats on the internet equals canceled RIP. I don't hate animals. I just don't have a use for them if they don't benefit me in some way.
Just wait till it gets an animal. Whole point of view is gonna change.
I would actually have to want to get one in order to get one.
I'm bringing you 5 dogs,
You're
17 birds, 4 cats, an alligator.
weird. You should
That's all
get
I
a
got.
duck. For what? What would I do with a duck?
Do you have any grapes? Sorry.
Oh my god. That was
Damn.
one of the things you've ever said.
That was the most statement of all time. Loud cars.
I own a few.
Mm-hmm.
S.
Okay.
I secretly
Harley?
like loud cars. Don't let anyone know.
You like loud cars, you said?
Like loud cars.
Mm. Gotcha. So my grandmother discovered that putting bowls of antifreeze on her patio would make loud cars go away.
Only the ones that break down
Mm.
need the antifreeze.
Now,
But they drink and continue going.
it's a noise disturbance, and I have reported loud vehicles driving on my road before for like improper muffler or just excessively loud engine, and I'll continue to do it because internal combustion engines that fit into a vehicle are all the same. Um, that like they just do the same thing. They have the same functionality. There are parameters to them. There are limits to what they do. You don't have an engine that has like a fusion reactor in it. You don't have an engine that puts out green exhaust. You don't have an engine that is 120 decibels whenever you're standing 40 feet away. And if it is like that, it's because you made it like that, and you should not be allowed to make it like that because I'm doing stuff that doesn't involve you or your loud vehicle, and yet you're affecting me with your loud vehicle because I'm trying to hear something or trying to do something, but I can't do it because I can't concentrate because my ribs are rattling in my chest with how loud your vehicle is. So, yeah, I'm calling a noise disturbance. That's my opinion of it. I don't think that people should be able to have their cars operate at that noise level legally. Anybody's opinion change at all?
Nah.
Gotcha. I'm putting it in C.
Works for me.
Let's see. Picture of a dude with a tiny dick sitting in a giant truck.
You found Leroy.
Hmm. Oh, here's a good one. Okay. That has been rankified. People who love telling you you're wrong. Not people who love to provide information and ensure that everybody has the correct information, but people who feast on being able to tell you you're incorrect, or make you feel stupid, or diminish your accomplishments, or demean you, make you feel like you are lesser than they are. Zindi.
I would definitely put this at like a C or F tier. It's just don't tell me I'm wrong, or don't tell me something's not pot. Well, it depends on what it is. I mean, if I'm wrong and I know and it's truly wrong, then yeah, that's fine. But if you're just trying to do it just to troll me, get off my front porch step. I'll prove you wrong.
Oh, the front porch stuff now.
So, I've met a couple people like this, and they respond with rage if you prove that you're correct about something. Rage, disbelief, dismissing, telling you, nah, no, you may have proven yourself correct, but you're not. It's incorrect behavior. I'm so angry, you're wrong, this is BS, exactly. That exact behavior. They
Yeah.
human nature, and every decision that people make, whether it's getting out of bed in the morning or going to bed at night, is motivated by fear. That is what pushes you. That is what creates your dopamine. That is what drives your decision making. You get out of bed because you're afraid of dying in your bed, starving to death, bed sores, missing out on things that you needed to do to be able to maintain your day-to-day life. You eat because you don't want to starve to death. You drive to work because you don't want to run out of money and go bankrupt and starve to death because you can't buy food or maintain a place to live. You marry people because you're afraid of being alone. You know, every decision that you make is motivated by fear. And so whenever I sit here and I think, why is this person demanding that I accept that I'm incorrect about something that I know I'm right about? Fear of being wrong is an understandable emotion because you know you have these unknown berries that you have to eat, and you just, oh my goodness, is it going to be good for me or is it going to kill me? And you take that bite and you hope to goodness that you're right. Fear of being wrong. Oh man, I hope I'm okay. I understand the psychology behind people who act like this, but it doesn't make me want to give them a hug. Let me put it that way. I'm not sympathetic. I just understand they're kind of stupid. But if I'm always right, then you're automatically wrong, and that's another thing. The idea that it's impossible for us to both be correct. It becomes a competition. It becomes I'm better than you. It's what it turns into. Confidently telling someone that they're wrong despite being wrong sounds like half the jokers I work with. Yeah, that can like cause bad installs, can cause breach of contracts, like people who just so confidently strut out into traffic saying, "Oh no, the cars will go around me," that kind of thing. It's just brain dead. I'm very good at understanding brain dead. It takes one to know one. Anybody have any input before I put this where it belongs deep into the F tier?
Or
I heard you say Mort. Who's Mort?
Mort. Said go for it.
I will not fight you, sir.
Okay. I'm gonna use the "Why are you booing me? I'm right" meme. Gosh, that is tiny. Okay, perfect size.
You're wrong. I'm right, but only when it's left.
Mm-hmm. There we go. Yep. There we go. Okay. You're wrong about it being an F. That's a good point. Very well put. Loud chewers. I'm sitting here eating pizza because I'm hungry. And I'm also streaming, and I really hope that the sound of my chewing isn't absolutely engorging the mic right now. I'm sorry. I am trying to stay alive. I need to sustain myself. Pizza is not a quiet food, so if during this I have been chewing loudly into the microphone or swallowing or gargling or any of that, I apologize. Tell me that I'm stupid,
man.
and I'll do this every time that I need to eat this. But I have to juggle eating this and talking, and that's kind of one of the reasons that I don't stream very often is because I'm always eating something. Harley?
I've been told I chew loud, which is very humbling, but I don't really notice it if someone's chewing loud.
Now, I've eaten with you, and I don't remember you chewing loudly.
Well, maybe it's just the people around then. I'm generally not bothered by it because I generally don't notice it. I mean, if someone's chewing with their mouth open, I'm like, okay, that's a little ridiculous. But chewing loudly, it's just like, I don't know. Don't really notice. Yeah, no, the smacking is a lot, but
Yeah.
just chewing, that's how you eat. I'm not going to bother you for you not, you probably don't even realize it if you're chewing loud. It's just, I don't know. It's the same kind of thing as being around someone that doesn't smell that great, but it's just kind of like, you can't help that. They already are here.
Zindy?
For me, it's like a B. It's depending on who it is. Like, there's some people that I get they can't help it, but then there's some people that are just blatantly doing it and being super loud about it, and like I don't need to hear every single lip smack, squish of the food in your mouth between your saliva and. Just, I'm sorry. I'm getting a Ren and Snippy picture as soon as I'm thinking about
Very
like,
erotically.
it's just like,
right.
yeah, just disgusting. It's like I used to know somebody that was just like, every time they would eat,
Like you've never eaten
you're like,
before.
what are you doing, man? Like, why are
You
you?
sound like a
You don't have to do that.
confounded demon from Dark Souls 1.
It's just like, I don't need to hear, like, you don't need to emphasize your chewing. Like, if you can't help it and it's just something that, you have a breathing problem or whatever, that's,
Right.
like, I don't care, whatever.
Whenever...
But if you're...
Go ahead.
But if you're just emphasizing it, and whether you mean to do it or not, it's just like, usually half the time those people, they have their mouth open anyway, so it's like, just close your mouth. You're not talking. You got, you're your gullet full of food and you're just sitting there just like spitting all over the place. Like, close your mouth.
Now, is it just eating loud or chewing with your mouth open? What's the?
It's just
Well, eating
loud
loud-
chewers. That is the
Right.
qualifier here.
Yeah, but I've noticed something I perceived is that you see most people who are chewing loud it's usually because their mouth's open.
Their mouth is a
I've been
fortress.
eating for my entire life,
I
as
don't
is
believe it.
evidenced by the fact that I am still alive. And I've never met a person who malevolently chews too loud, like deliberately is chewing too loud. It's something that you just don't realize it when you're doing it. And I
Exactly.
forgive that if you don't know it, if you don't know or if you can't control what you're doing. I view that a lot less harshly than somebody who is deliberately causing a problem. So for someone that's chewing loudly, because I've never seen somebody intentionally being disruptive with their chewing, uh, then I can't hate him for it, and I can't rate that as too annoying. I put it in B because it sounds like Zindi has actually had people who chew too loud intentionally.
It's
But-
funny to think about.
I'm not one that usually gets bothered by that, but I knew some person who's no longer, is no longer on this earth, who just was like, I mean, literally, it was just like listening to a cow chewing their cud. It was just disgusting.
It shoots so loud they died.
I mean, when you're out like eating and the table next to you can hear you and telling you to be quiet because you're so loud.
Mostly, like the way I'm viewing it, a crazy take, huh? The way I'm viewing it is your brain cancels out your own noise. You don't hear your own footsteps when you're walking through your house unless you're intentionally listening for it. You don't hear your own breathing. You don't notice the sounds that you make unless it is loud. There is a whole list of things that your brain does not view as important information, and so it just doesn't perceive that stimulus. And the sound of your own chewing is one of them. So that is what causes me to think that it's not something that I would really hate on somebody for. And also, if somebody is chewing loudly next to me and it is annoying me, I say, "Hey man, you sound like a wood chipper. Do you need like a tissue so you can blow your nose, clear your passageway so you're not choking to death the whole time you're eating? Do you need help? Do I need to start performing chest compressions? Will you quit being disruptive?" And, with a gentle reminder like that to be quieter, they generally, fix the problem. Or go eat somewhere else. You got to be diplomatic about this sort of thing. So that's why I don't think it goes any higher than B. Because it doesn't happen often. If it does happen, it's forgivable. It's not that big of a deal. It's not as nearly as big of a deal as like a loud truck where someone very deliberately messed up their truck so that it makes a bunch of noise, so that everybody turns and looks at them when they're rumbling through. Those kind of people, I want the tires to fall off. But for somebody that's eating too loudly, I don't want their teeth falling out, because then they'll chew even more loudly as they're slurping down whatever liquefied food that is. That's my line of logic with this. Are mosquitoes in the list? They are in the list, but we have not yet covered them.
Did you give me my pudding?
We need to cover mosquitoes. That's
Are they not on the list?
Sucker.
They're
The
not-
vampires are the
they're-
animals.
There's nowhere they're not on the
They're
list.
not on the tier list thus far. They are in the list of things we need to get to, but they have not yet been added to the list. So let's skip it
Well,
just
that's
because
nice.
Duarte has mentioned it. Let's go ahead and talk about mosquitoes. And I
Vampires
boy.
of the animal world.
believe we know where that's going.
I think mosquitoes and gnats can both be in their own little categories.
They have no
I've been
purpose.
dealing a lot
They're
with
just
gnats
annoying.
recently. Mosquitoes don't serve a purpose on this planet.
Nope, not at
They
all.
are parasites in every aspect. Disease carriers, just nasty. They're pests. There's not a good word to describe them.
The female's the one that's annoying. We could do without, but then you wouldn't have any males. So Yeah, we don't need them.
You just don't.
They're just
But
a
they
pain.
provide.
They're a pain in the arse, literally.
They do not
Sometimes.
actually serve a function. If we analyze mosquitoes, what purpose do they serve? They're not pollinators.
The
They're
males are,
food
but
for some animals, but they're animals that can eat multiple things, not just mosquitoes. So if mosquitoes went extinct, they would learn to eat something else. And if they couldn't and they went extinct as well, well, serves them right for being stupid and not eating other stuff. Mosquitoes and the diseases they carry have probably killed more people than any other thing. Um, if mosquitoes were wiped out, if we came up with something that would kill them all off, there would be widespread joy over this. They have claimed so many lives with all of the crap that they carry, and deleting them would be like that would be one of our crowning achievements. DDT, Malthion, whatever it takes. You wipe them out, you wipe out the vector, one of the biggest vectors for disease. They go in F. And god damn every single mosquito on this planet straight to hell.
True.
Worst part about mosquitoes is not even them taking your blood, it's the noise they make in your ear at night and jump scaring you. Um
I don't personally sleep in a hammock.
so I I don't sleep with around mosquitoes that carry megaphones. Um mosquito phones, you might say. And like the noise is annoying because your brain is like there's a cerebellous reaction to that noise. It says that's a mosquito, that's gonna bite me. My
It's gonna be
cousin Ooga
malaria.
Booga, the other caveman, got West Nile virus and died, and we don't even have the Nile River yet. So that must mean the sound is bad. Because the sound is an omen of death. So I get the sound being a problem, but I just think the functionality of mosquitoes being one of the most worthless animals besides like deer or jellyfish uh, is slightly worse than the sound.
what's your take on sloth strain?
Sloths? I've never spoken to a sloth. Um, I got
No one
nothing
you flip
against them.
spreader.
They don't do anything.
I've
They're
never,
useless too.
I've never,
They have chlamydia.
I've never
They
actually.
move so slow they got moss growing on them. Anyway, that's off the topic.
Yep. How is a deer useless? Did I hear that right? Yes, you did. Deer are useless animals. They serve two purposes:
Food.
destroying crops and destroying cars. That's it.
They are a food source.
They are a food source for people who hunt them, and I've got nothing against hunting deer. That is perfectly fine. Keep them on reservations. You know, deer preserves where they can continue to frolic
Reserves.
around and flick their little tails.
It's made them sound like an 1800s Indian tribe.
But I would really love for deer to just evaporate, cease to exist. I would be fine with that. They don't serve a function in the ecosystem, just like mosquitoes. They just mow through corn, soybeans, peppers, and contribute nothing in exchange. And have also taken my truck and my father's old F-150 and my mother's old Pontiac Grand Prix and my grandmother's Crown Victoria. Like they have no benefits except for eating them. And there's so many different things that we can eat besides just deer. Hides for clothing. That was an important thing back whenever we were wearing animal skins. Nowadays we
Okay.
don't.
Tools.
They are a food source, but there's thousands of other things that we eat. So yeah, if you take deer out of the ecosystem, nothing changes. And it would be delightful if they were gone. Just saying. Uh, You'd have so many less car accidents per year if there were no deer.
Yeah, but you said you don't care about cars, so
Excuse me?
didn't you say earlier you didn't care about cars? So
No, I
the
didn't
most
say.
dangerous things.
No, I did not say that I don't care about cars. That phrase has never left my mouth until just now. Okay. Um, Video games misrepresenting something that you know a lot about. This one probably could have been put into the video games tier list, but we're doing it now because it did make me very mad whenever I played GTA 5 and went into the Diamond Casino and sat down to play blackjack, and they didn't
Oh,
do insurance correctly. They didn't do insurance at all, where if the dealer flips over their card and it's an ace and their hidden card, their hidden card could be a 10, and if it is a 10 because you see an ace, you're supposed to be given an option to buy insurance. 3-2 payout. But they don't have insurance in the game. And I was vehemently displeased. But video game depictions of like wounds and injuries in battle, hacking, there's so many things that it doesn't benefit the gameplay at all for you to have gotten this wrong. You know? Like you put just a little bit more effort in and realize that whenever you're doing your set design, you don't have 7 electrical panels that all go into the same meter that is below the panels. Um, you think that you're doing something that looks like an electrical system, but you've clearly never looked at something more complex than a light switch. So could you just at least Google what a sub panel looks like, or distribution panel, or something like that before you put it in your video game? Harley, what do you think about ignorant game developers?
I was thinking before you say anything, like, well, they can't help that if they're a small company or even if they're a bigger company that didn't do the research. But thinking about it now, they absolutely could afford to do the research, and it would benefit them greatly if they were accurate. So I don't know. I'm annoyed by it, but I can also just brush it off because I play the game and not focus on that much about what's going on around it. But that's specifically in your instance with decoration, electrical panels and whatnot. But themes and genres like religion, certain religions, like they're said they depict this religion accurately and then they don't. It's very distasteful. Or political events too.
Yeah.
There's a whole rabbit hole you can go down of games misrepresenting things.
The quintessential gay
It's a
character who
mess.
doesn't act like any gay person you've ever met ever.
Yeah.
But they're there because, oh, we've got a gay character in our game. And they act like Wilberforce Claiborne Humphreys from Are You Being Served? Yep. It's annoying whenever somebody pretends that they know about something that they know nothing about. Zendine?
If you don't know about it, just leave it out of the game unless it's integral to the actual storyline. I'm like, why the hell have it in there? I mean, it's stupid fluff. You don't need it. Especially if you don't know what you're talking about. I mean, either research it or just leave it out.
So while I'm chewing,
Do faster. You're doing it wrong.
I am getting the Hacker Man meme. This right here is going to be the icon for it, and I'll put it in S.
Hacking alone is very, very loosely depicted in games, and it's pretty funny.
I'm putting it in S. It's not that big of a deal. It doesn't hurt me at all that people do not correctly depict electrical systems in their games. Most recent example of that being there was a wall in Onward that was just it was a nightmare. It had like 7 or 8 panels on it and had the meters like I said. It looked ridiculous. I couldn't fathom what was going on. What those panels were for, but they existed. And somebody spent a lot of time on it.
So rub.
All right. Close that out of there. Waking up in the middle of the night to piss is diabolical. We have already ranked waking up in the middle of the night. We already have. It is right there. And we gave that a B. So that has been ranked. Don't remember which episode we ranked that in, but I told the story about how the person came into my bedroom and knew was gonna shoot me. And how that woke me up. Alright. This one is this one I've been looking forward to getting into. Jehovah's Witnesses and Mormons coming up onto your porch.
Mormons.
Take it away, Harley.
No, I can't contribute. I don't think I've ever even seen a Jehovah's Witness.
Really?
It's a myth. It's a myth. I don't believe they exist.
Really?
Oh, they exist.
All right, Zindy, tell them about it.
Maybe in my youth.
Tell them about it.
They will hound you and not leave you alone until you, well, either one of them. Yeah, if the Jehovah's Witnesses get you, they will hound you until you take their little flyer, the Watchtower, and they have a chance to witness to you about the Watchtower and the events of Jesus Christ and his brother Satan, which is they somehow messed everything up in the Bible, but whatever. Apparently somebody misread it wrong, and they just continued on with it.
Misread it.
Mormons are not as pushy. I don't really have an issue with the Mormons. I mean, other than then they came up with stuff and lost it, and it was just, I think the whole thing is kind of a little bit ridiculous. But whatever, that's my own personal view. Nothing against anybody. But the Jehovah's Witnesses with jamming stuff, trying to jam stuff down your throat and trying to be like, it just will not leave you alone until you call the cops on them at times. Yeah, they're pretty annoying. I wouldn't go above a B, but that's where they're at. I know my grandfather at one point told him he was Jewish to try to get him to leave him alone. He was on he had a farmhouse that had a quarter-mile driveway. He told him to get off his property in 10 seconds, or he was going to pull out a shotgun. Sure enough, they couldn't get off the property, so he had a little Peter. It was the last time they ever showed up on his property ever again. Luckily, he was a doctor at the time, so he was able to treat their wounds and properly kick them off the property after he treated them.
So, here's what I've got to say about Mormons and Jehovah's Witnesses and all of that. Revelations 22, verse 18. For I testify unto every man that heareth the words of the prophecy of this book, if any man shall add unto these things, God shall add unto him the plagues that are written in this book. The only time that the Bible ever directly addresses the person reading it, it's a death threat. Wherein the book is saying, if you add anything to this holy book, or if you take anything away from it, you're getting the holy artillery strike. And yeah, that's something that Jehovah's Witnesses and Mormons are really good about doing is, oh, here's an entire other book that you need to read that is also just as important as the Bible. So in my mind that already delegitimizes them because they use the Bible but then they also use these other books that are unique to them which are because of the verses at the end of Revelations now mutually exclusive, which immediately kills their message. So you already know that they're spitting some bullshit. But then the harassment that you associate with them, yeah, I would put them I would put them in B tier. What's up, Flavia? How you doing, buddy? So this is overall game pet peeves or the industry in general? No, this is everything. This is everything, buddy. We've got the highway department being broke, poop, screaming babies, mobile ads, deer, secondhand smoke, empty snack bags, sneezing repeatedly, falling down, scratched or cracked glasses, mosquitoes, Black Friday, loud trucks, World of Warcraft community, pallet jacks, shopping, being woken up in the middle of the night, when your shoes get wet, red lights, my face, boll weevils, loud chewers. We've got so much stuff on here, dude. There's so much stuff in this list, and it's growing every day. I've got a list right here on this giant piece of cardboard that was given to me by a coworker. And yeah, this is just the tip of the iceberg. We are ranking stuff on a tier list that will last longer than I will live. Like this tier list will outlive me. It'll be the rest of my life before we finish this thing. I'm serious, dude. Have you seen Glengarry Glen Ross?
Yeah.
Yep.
Who?
Yeah, it's a 90s film.
Huh.
Or early 2000s.
I've never heard of that.
It's a sales film.
You're going to make a list of what makes you happy to balance this?
Alex Baldwin.
Good suggestion.
You do be bussin' with some ideas, though. That's not bad. Shit. The happiness tier list, eh? That's a good idea.
What's viral?
See,
Good
you need
sales
to get involved in that one. I
I'll
know
do
you don't like
clothing.
the annoying
Coffee's only
things tier
for-
list, but you need to do
Coffee's
the...
only for closers. Sorry.
Yeah, will you do sand, dirt in your boots while working? Absolutely. We will do sand and dirt in your boots while working in just a second after we rank the next item, which is people who interrupt the absolute blistering fuck out of you. Now, I have a lot of experience with this. Not just in Discord, but in real life. Where I'll be explaining to somebody how to do something because I'm an electrician. My job is to explain things. My job is to train helpers and to hopefully make more electricians, to create more of myself. I have to multiply myself. I have to make more. That is my one job. And if I'm sitting here explaining to them, you know, you got the wire coming up out the pipe in the ground. We got this 4-inch that runs back there to the switchgear. This is the distribution panel. It's getting wire from the main breaker. We pull it up here. This is a bottom fed panel, so we bring our wires over here. Brown goes here. Orange goes in the middle. Yellow goes here. This is how we wire it up. Oh, well, why does it have to be brown and orange and yellow? It's a good question. Fantastic. Let me explain. First, the brown over here is on the... Well, why did they choose brown, orange, and yellow? Why couldn't they have chosen purple, green, and chartreuse? Okay, well, I mean, I don't know. I haven't really talked to the people who decided brown, orange, and yellow. They've been using it for centuries, I'm sure. But so basically, you remember the acronym BOY, boy, brown, orange, yellow. This is what you do. So let's take a look at the wire. Well, I need to go to the bathroom. Okay, see you. Being interrupted, not just with somebody talking over me or talking into what I'm saying, but leading me on in believing that what I'm saying, which is going to take a while to say, is completely without value and unimportant because they just suddenly need to up and leave is astonishingly demoralizing. And it's even worse whenever they actually do just straight up talk into me because it just tells me they don't give a fuck that I'm saying something. They don't give a fuck that what I'm saying has value. They need to throw in their 2 cents, and oftentimes it's just a filler phrase that they throw out because they think they need to be saying something. But the worst times is whenever I'm trying to say something that I need to say, and then somebody walks up while I'm talking, and then they start talking, and then the person that I'm talking to forgets that I was talking to them and goes about what they were already doing, or goes about doing something else. People who interrupt, there needs to be a mute button. And oftentimes a mute button is to bitch slap them, but you can't legally do that in most cases. So the law needs to be changed. I'm going to petition that it be legal to bitch slap the teeth out of somebody's mouth if they interrupt me. And I'd like everybody to sign my petition.
Signing.
Thank you. I want to put this in F tier. I want to cause so much pain whenever this happens, and I don't feel that way about very many things, but it brings out something in me, dude. Oh my god, I want to scream. Oh, Harley?
Well, I think we've
Always
talked
be
about
closing.
before. What
Harley?
does it even fucking mean?
From Glenn Ross.
For them, it's always be Christianing?
Shit. I'm not.
Now that
here
it's
to
surrounded by people who interrupt you?
judge.
So anyways,
It doesn't bother me.
now that I'm done
Funny.
now that I'm done making the joke, I'm sorry to both of you. I apologize.
How do you feel? You feel better?
Just,
Do you feel accomplished?
I finally have my revenge. Ugh.
I'm sorry, I'm over here with no teeth.
Yes. Bro, your dentures have been knocked out at this point. Shit.
I can't help it. It's part of ADHD, which I do have.
Uh-huh.
So when the way my mind works, if I don't get something out, I'll forget it. So sometimes I unintentionally interrupt people, which is not anything other than I just want to make sure that I get it out so I don't forget it before it evaporates in my brain.
Right.
So it's an
But has it ever
intelligence
crossed
thing.
your mind that maybe the person that you're talking through or talking over or interrupting the blistering flipping fuck out of might also forget what they were talking about?
Nothing usually goes through my brain when that happens.
Mm.
And it's not, like I said, it's not an intentional thing. It's not like you're meaning to talk over someone or whatever. Sometimes I think the reason why I personally do it, is because there's a lot of people that have been in my life that just don't shut up and continue to talk and talk and talk and talk.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time I can finally get my word in there, that subject's already been gone for about 20 minutes, so I just forget about it or whatever. Or I want to say it and it makes no sense.
Gotcha. Billy's here saying it is also actually to show that you're listening, and by interjecting or repeating, it is to show that you were attentive to what is being said. And I get that. I get the whole yes and thing, or the building off of something, or trying to engage with somebody so that even if they're talking about something that you give absolutely zero shits about, you can at least make them feel like what's coming out of their mouth matters to you by faking engagement. That's something I do a lot, actually.
Mhm.
Often punctuated with but It's not from a place of malevolence, I know that. And I know that more often than not interrupting somebody also doesn't come from a place of malevolence. It just sucks because I know how to interact with people in my little way. And although a lot of times that might not be seamless and it may not be streamlined and it may not be appropriate, screwdrivers going up asses and all that, it still
Oh my goodness, professional.
is the way I've learned to behave. And I've also learned to not interrupt people. So maybe I'm just comparing people to myself too much in the way I've learned to act. You're perfect. We were all plebs. That is very accurate. I'm going to put interrupting in C tier. Even though I think it belongs in S tier, I don't think it affects anybody else as much as it affects me. But y'all can sway me if you wish. Proceed interrupting each other now.
Refuse.
Vending machine?
Sorry, what?
Do you have anything to say on this?
I don't know. I interrupted
Nobody
you,
likes
so
to be
I don't-
interrupted.
True.
it's an S for me. I don't. I mean, I guess I don't know. From the other point, I would put whatever you're gonna go with. I'll go with too. I don't care.
Okay. All right.
Little submissive man.
It's absolutely adorable. Putting it in C. And what was the other one we needed to rank?
Dude, you didn't need to put a picture of me there.
No, that's you. You are now forever a part of this tier list. Why is there
I have a little.
the wrong color?
Oh shit.
There we go. All right. Let's see. What was said over here? It's an old message when you were talking about missionaries at your door. I got you, Flava. Yeah, I was more along the lines of joking whenever I was talking about all that. Jack retracted his message. Okay, that's fine. Electricians must mitosis to create Sparkies to grow for the species. Yes, that's what we must do. It seems like lately we just can't self-multiply enough. I feel like, didn't we rank Rock in Your Shoe in the first video? It was actually, that wasn't us, that was just me. Wasn't it? Rock in Your
Perhaps.
Shoe, Wursif Sock, I think was the... I'm going to have to go back and look now.
Just come to watch back the video.
When the average person thinks of adrenaline, they think of magnificent, thrilling scenarios such as skydiving or mountain climbing or stealing a cookie from the cookie jar. But whenever I think of that, this mess right here is going to make me do a mischief. Tier. Rock in
There
your
it is.
shoe.
All right. Are you there, Noel? Because, boy, you about to see it. You're about to see the ranking for this. Rock in Your Shoe. Here we go.
Speaking of Tootsies, anyone who possesses a functional pair of land flippers is painfully familiar with the quandary of having something underfoot that's not supposed to be there. Maybe you were walking on concrete and kicked a pebble up into your own shoe, or mayhaps you were chainsawing a tree that fell during a Category 4 hurricane that blasted all your earthly possessions to kingdom come, and a wood chip flies up under your clodhoppers. Things just don't feel right until you stop whatever you had going on and attend to the issue. It's fairly easy to overcome regardless of how aggravating it is to be thusly interrupted, so it'll go into the, well, this is a bit of a sticky wicket, but not to worry, tier.
If you never watched the first video, it's called An Exhaustive Compendium of Every Annoying Thing in Life. It's in the playlist. I did rank a lot of stuff. Smashing your teeth together accidentally. Obviously biting your lip while eating's on the list. Dentists who press the pick too hard. Power outage, internet outage, people tailgating you, driving behind slow drivers when your GPS fails, hard chunk and soft food, bumping your head or your knee. There's so many things in this first one. And that was just the humble beginnings. And you see what the list turned into. So you're good, bud. No need to apologize. But we do have a bunch of stuff on this list. If you're just tuning in for the first time, welcome to it. And we're in this for the long haul. Leaving the blinker on. There was a fella. He's dead and gone now. But there was a dude that lived on
thank
our
God.
street. A dude who lived on our street who not only rode around with his blinker on all the time, but also he never buckled his seatbelt. And we only knew that because his seatbelt was always slammed in the door with the buckle flapping in the wind as he drove down the road. This dude was a mess. And he's one of those that had satellite dishes on the side of his head. Like, I'm telling you, this man, he could hear tomorrow. His ears were so fucking big. We always joked about how he had to have the driver's side and passenger side windows rolled down just to be able to get in the car. And God forbid he turn his head when you were standing anywhere within 10 feet of him because you were coming out of that with a concussion. He was such a goofy gooberson. And over time, he got worse and worse eyesight. Like, his vision deteriorated very badly to the point that you could hold 2 fingers up in his face and ask him how many fingers you were holding up. And he would say, "Huh?" So, despite that, he continued to drive. And that just speaks to the absolute failure that is the Georgia Department of Driver Services for allowing that old blind idiot to continue to drive. Dumbo-esque. That's a very accurate description of him. Yes, that's a good name. That's a good one. But yeah, this dude, he just always had his blinker on. It was always so confusing because you don't know when he's turning. And he didn't maintain his vehicle, so his brake lights were oftentimes out, meaning that sometimes he actually did intend to turn, and you wouldn't know it until you rear-ended him because his blinkers was always on, and his brake lights didn't work. So you didn't know when he was stopping until he was sitting in your passenger seat saying, "Huh?" So yeah, that was...
Just sitting in your passenger seat?
Yeah, as in I rear-ended him and he slid up into my passenger seat through my windshield. I don't know if like people not blinking affects y'all at all, but it is...
I hate dry eyeballs. I hate dry eyeballs.
Dry eyeballs.
You said blinking.
Dry balls.
Wasn't
Dry balls.
talking about dry balls.
No dry balls. Got it.
I was talking.
Well, you had to take it there, didn't you?
Yeah. That's what I was. That's what I wasn't. So yeah, if neither of you have any anecdotes to throw in here, I'm gonna put it in A because I very rarely see people doing it, and if I do see people doing it, it's semi-trucks because semi-truck drivers are among the dumbest people God ever shat out, in my experience. Or they could be absolute fucking geniuses. There's no in between. They are either complete amoebas or Einsteins. And I don't understand what causes that to happen with truck drivers. But they're usually the ones that don't have their blinker. turned off. No, blinker. Car.
Blinker fluid. What happens? Happens when you run out, it doesn't stop blinking.
Yes, yes. All right, this
What
goes.
the fuck?
This goes in here.
Gotta fill that blinker fluid, Harley.
Mm-hmm.
Blink fluid.
I've done it. Music was so loud I didn't hear the blinker and forgot it was on for a few kilometers. Started signaling to change lanes, and then you felt that the blinker stalk didn't click down, and you realized it had been on the entire time. I've honestly never forgotten my blinker. I never have. It is second nature. And it scares me whenever somebody is constantly using their blinker, like is always blinking, driving down the road in the left lane for miles and miles with their blinker on. I get out from behind them. I'll go 10 miles an hour below the speed limit before I drive behind somebody with their blinker on. Simple as that. Sharing a car with a dangerous driver, them looking at their phone and shit. That is a glorious suggestion. Being the passenger when someone else or the driver is looking at their phone and driving erratically. Veli? Usually try to hold it right at the precipice of not getting... God, why is my cursor in the way of what you're saying? Usually try to hold it right at the precipice of not getting locked in so that doesn't happen. Why do you try to hold the blinker so that it doesn't get locked?
Sometimes it automatically toggles, I guess, when you're turning the wheel for some
Oh,
cars.
yeah. You click it like 3 times and it undoes. Like a bra strap almost. Sir, you have never driven with me. When did I imply that I had driven with you? Oh, because I said Veli whenever I meant to say Zindi, to prompt Zindi to say something about the people driving erratically whenever you're in the passenger seat. It was another
Never ridden with
vending
you.
machine situation.
Vending machine.
Yes. Zindi?
Huh? I mean, it's annoying as hell, but I usually pass them.
So we are no longer talking about blinkers. We're talking about idiots who text while driving.
Oh. Uh. Yeah, I've had a few of them. I had one of them run into me, so an F. That's why I'm in my situation.
Damn.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's cost me 2 years of absolute garbage and BS. So yeah. At a stoplight, nonetheless. Just stopped and somebody plowed into me.
Harley, do you have anything that can bring this back from an F? Because both me and Zindi are of the persuasion it belongs an F.
It does belong enough. People
Oh, I
who
said
text and
blinkers.
drive deserve what they have coming to them. It's moronic. You're taught against it your entire fucking life. Why? You can wait. It can wait.
Dead ass.
It's that YouTube video showing them how to drive.
Yeah.
Probably.
They're taking a driving tutorial while they're driving to their destination.
Daniel Lab has a book teaching them how to fucking function as a human being in society.
Hey, we can't get back into the cell phones. Freaking 2 people go on a date and they're sitting there the whole time looking at their cell phones back and forth, not even ever talking, not ever saying a word to each other.
Yeah, texting while driving is something that should get your driver's license revoked. Like, you have 23 hours out of the day to look at your phone, and you're going to choose to use the 1 hour total that you have to drive in a day, if that, to put potentially hundreds of people's lives on the line so that you can scroll TikTok. You don't
Selfish,
deserve the
pathetic,
eyes,
dangerous.
and you do not deserve to have eyes, let alone a phone. But God gave you the mercy of allowing you to continue to have a pair of eyeballs. So don't squander that by looking at your phone while you're driving. You absolute homunculus. It's
Mine's
my
Harley.
opinion of it. What'd you say? Harlunculus?
Harlunculus.
If you're in a bikini, you're harlunculicious.
Oh my god, that is disgusting.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Oh,
Is there a reason you are this way?
blinker on for a mile is embarrassing. It happens to me if I have music too loud. Okay, that's 2 times that we've had music too loud being the reason that the blinker stays on. I don't play music very loud. At all. I like it doesn't make me it's just not like I can't hear it if it's not loud. It doesn't like do people play music at a specific volume that's higher than what I would expect? Like, I know the joke about, like max volume or turn down for what or all that sort of thing, but I didn't think people were like seriously like you can't enjoy the music unless it's rattling your rib cage. Generally speaking, I thought people only had their volume turned way up so that they could like show off to people. Peacocking. You got the double entendre. Listen at 80 to 90 to max. But why? What motivates you to do that?
That's cool.
Uh-huh. Serotonin, I enjoy music. Well, I get serotonin from music too, but the volume that the music is played at doesn't affect my enjoyment in any capacity. It's more about the subject matter, the content itself is what I
For
find
me,
serotonin.
volume changes a lot about the music.
What?
For me, I have a greatly enhanced serotonin release when the music is louder. Certain songs,
Am I the weird one?
perhaps.
That doesn't make any sense.
It just you feel the music more, like the bass. You feel the bass more. It's you're involving more of your senses. That's the definition of more enjoyment.
So what, you turn up the music to a certain volume and like you start to taste the person that's like singing? Like what? Same, I listen about 80%, but it's still loud enough where I cannot hear the blinker. Then turn down the music or turn up the blinker.
Turn up the blinker.
I mean, come on. The guy I usually get a drop off from the work site usually is on the phone at the first minute or so to look for the GPS, and it scares me. Yep, distracted work. That distracted workers looking at the phone instead of what they're being paid to look at. That's just milking the clock. It's why I get so
Milking
mad
the
when you
clock.
scream in Discord. Why? Because I managed to go to 120 decibels, whereas your music is 110.
You get so loud I can't hear my fucking blinkers. That's what it is.
Yeah. It's hard to describe why sometimes the music is just another level. It's hard for me to understand. Because it's like if I'm playing a video game, and I'm not even making the joke about always turning off the music, but if I'm playing a video game and I've got the volume at 50 versus having the volume at 90, it's still the exact same game, and I still get the same amount of enjoyment out of it. You know? Because it's less about the volume and more about the subject matter. How I view it. I just smacked the fuck out of my microphone.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, but Harley, he doesn't like music. He can't relate. I do like music. There are certain types of music that I do like. There's a an absolute battleship load of music that I don't, but there is some music that I respect and enjoy, and I think that the artists did a very good job with it. But it's not the volume. It's not volume dependent. The music needs to be loud sometimes. We'll agree to disagree on that. I distinctly do not agree. What were we talking about? What were we ranking? Were we ranking something?
People having their blinkers on and being on their phones in traffic or whatever.
Okay, okay. I got you. So being on the phones, F tier. We've got that ranked already.
Yes.
Should carry a very stiff sentence, and also you can never get into a vehicle again. You have to walk everywhere you go for the rest of your life. But yeah, that's been ranked. Music being purely auditory, I guess it's just like you can really hear every last detail for me when it's quiet. Well, you can for a couple of years until, because you've been playing music at too high of a volume, you undergo hearing loss. You suffer from hearing loss. And now those delightful tunes that you used to be able to listen to, you can no longer hear a damn thing in, except for maybe somebody going every couple seconds whenever they hit that high of a pitch. I have seen hearing loss in my grandfather, in my great grandmother, and in my sister. What was the common denominator with all three of them? Degenerative hearing loss as a result of what?
People not turning their blinkers off in traffic.
Loud equipment. Loud stuff make ears go boom. Or hearing loss from your friend yelling in your ear, the hypocrisy. So if I yell once in a 10-second period versus a song which your average song is between 2 minutes and 50 seconds and 4 minutes and about 20 seconds of
Only have
sustained
songs.
ear blasting, which one are you actually going to get hearing loss from?
Like,
Take ear protection.
Wearing ear protection while at a concert or something, that's a good idea.
Well, no, they have. I mean, we're hearing stuff when you shooting. So I know plenty of people that put protective ear gear on their kids. It's not noise canceling, but you can effectively listen to a concert with earplugs in.
No, they ain't running the clock. I ain't got a ride to work, so I usually just ask a coworker if I could hitch a ride at the beginning of the journey. I just sit and watch as he goes on his phone. It's a depressing feeling. I rode to lunch with a dude the other week who, as soon as I sat down, he instantly whipped out the phone. We pulled up the red light. He's still on the phone.
oh wait, no, hold on. I actually do relate. At my old job, I rode every day with this guy who would only be on his phone while he drove, all the time. And I don't know how he fucking did it because he didn't have any issues. He was just like able to do it absentmindedly. I don't know. Always freaked me out though.
Man managed to
But
roll in that 20 for every second that he had his behind in that seat. Some people have all the luck.
I'll tell you though, I stopped sleeping in the truck on those mornings whenever
Yeah.
he started driving.
Yeah, but all it takes is one mistake, and that's the end of that.
What's worse about like the one that I was talking about with the dude that I was riding to the restaurant with him, eventually I was like, "Hey, buddy, are you trying to kill me?" And he's like, "What are you talking about?" And he lets his phone down, and I see that he's looking at Snapchat.
Boy,
Some people just have their heads shoved so far up their asses they cannot
priorities.
possibly prioritize the most basic bitch bullshit. Sadly, you're right about the hearing loss. Exactly. Like, concerts are among the loudest things. Like, whenever you're ranking loud things, you rank jet engines, chainsaw engines, concerts, rock concerts. Like, why is it that loud? If it was fun to beat your head into a brick wall, would you do it? You know what I mean?
It was fun, yeah, I guess.
It's fun, dude. It's fun. It's causing me irreparable damage, but it's fun. It feels good. That's how I view loud
Now you
music.
get it.
Now you know why people are putting padded rooms.
I will have hearing loss from you until Discord adds a sound compressor filter. You just lucky that I haven't unleashed yet, because I have been very nice the couple times that I've been upset, which is an oxymoron. That is I have not yelled as much as I could or as loud as I could. Because just think, for every time that I yell, there's 10 yells that you don't hear going off in my soul. My soul is very loud.
Oh,
No wonder you don't want to play Rainbow Six with me anymore.
loud soul have an ass.
But if you could talk and play a competitive game, why can't you talk and drive? Are you talking about text or drive or talk and drive? I'm not talking about talking or texting while driving. I'm talking about steering wheel in one hand, phone in the other. That's what I'm talking about. Because you could talk and text if you're hands-free. You know? Like, if you've got your Bluetooth connected to your little screen there on the side of your truck, and all you have to do is, because I have a steering wheel with buttons all over it, and if I mash down on my left thumb, it's like, please say a command, and I'll say, call mom, and it'll say, please pick a line number, or say none of those, and then it's got 4 options that say, you know, the Hindenburg, and lean beef, and YouTube, and the vape shop. And it's like, no, I said mom, not any of those options. None of those. And it's like, please say a command. And so I say, call mom. And it says, please say a line number, or say none of those. It's got 4 options. One of them is mop bucket. One of them is monsoon. One of them is Monteith Viaduct. The 4th one is... And so I have this constant fight with my truck. But eventually, without having to pick up my phone, and after much screaming at my truck, I can get it to eventually call my mother. That's the correct way to do it.
Did you mean call China? No.
Smoothie.
Oh, smoothie, thank you. Thank
I
you.
got blueberry, frozen fruit, yogurt, and oats.
Oh, the cows.
Go ahead and deafen, because we have what sounds like a fucking 3-year-old in the background. Let's see here. I'm just happy it ain't the entire ride. At least it's usually only the start of the ride. Oh yeah, because they're not they do their business within the first 2 miles. Let's see. All right. If we're done for listening to music loud, what should we be doing to warn you about sucking in glycerol 24/7? You mean vegetable glycerin? Not glycerol? Let's see. Let's Google vegetable glycerin real quick. Okay. Here we go. According to Healthline, vegetable glycerin provides health benefits ranging from skin health to better hydration and a strengthened gut. May moisturize skin, may promote skin health, may reduce constipation, may boost hydration and athletic performance. Vegetable glycerin is generally considered safe. That said, you may experience an allergic reaction if vegetable glycerin is applied to your skin. When ingested, it has a possibility to cause headaches, dizziness, nausea, vomiting, and excessive thirst. So, yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at smoke inhalation. Coughing, trouble breathing, wheezing, asthma attacks, stinging eyes, scratchy throat, runny nose, irritated sinuses. And those aren't even possibilities, those are guarantees. Did you ever see that news story of the truck driver that crashed because he was watching porn while driving? Imagine being known as that guy. Couldn't be me, dude. I never watch porn. Not while driving. I should be on your annoying person list. I'm on deafen in Discord. Are we done? Are we good? Is everybody here?
Yeah. We are here.
Okay.
We still friends?
That's huge.
He was asking.
Oh, CSGO 2 has finished downloading. Are you still doing that?
Did you end your stream?
Hang on.
No, I haven't.
I got
No, I
Why did
haven't.
it stop on my end. Oh, it's just buffering on my end. Sorry, I'll shut up.
What else did we have? Okay, we'll go ahead and pinch this off because we have been live for 2 hours, and because I do need to use the bathroom severely. So we'll finish it with the phrase, "We don't have Coke. Is Pepsi okay?" The answer to that question is no, it's not. You're a chain restaurant, multi-million-dollar corporation. Whether it's Darden or some other big conglomerate that owns the restaurants, I know that you're not so poor that you cannot afford to provide one of both drinks. Mutually exclusive contracts are a trap. You signed a contract that means that you have to sell Pepsi products instead of Coke products. And as everybody knows, Pepsi products are made using the runoff from the air conditioner units on top of the Coke factory. It is the most vile, vomit-worthy shit I've ever put into my mouth. Pause. It's really, really bad. There is no good Pepsi product except maybe Powerade, and that's just inferior to Gatorade in most ways anyways. So not having Coke is unacceptable. You should go out of business. So no. You not having Coke and Pepsi being the only alternative is not okay. I refuse to accept that answer. And I have walked out of a steakhouse that I took my grandmother to because they didn't have Coke products. Took her to the restaurant across the street, which was a significant downgrade in quality and price, but they had Coke.
That's a significant increase in quality.
And that's all you need. Harley.
Don't drink soda.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, Veli, would you like to weigh in on the Coke versus Pepsi debate?
No, I think I've trolled you enough for one day.
So you just don't have an opinion on the subject?
Oh no, working in food and beverage, I understand the business's proposition because if you sign the contract with Pepsi, they might actually have in their contract that you can't sell Coke. And then to the business owner, that might be beneficial because the Pepsi might be coming in at a much lesser cost.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you that Coke is better. I'm not advocating for the taste of one or the other. I think it's a fiscal decision from the ownership.
Gotcha. And that does make sense. But from the perspective of the customer, if you don't sell Coke products, I want you to go out of business. I will not only not buy from you, I will advocate for your bankruptcy.
But nothing owned by Frito-Lay. Gotcha.
Zindim, what is your opinion of we don't have Coke, is Pepsi okay?
Uh, I don't. I usually don't care either way. It's not. I mean, I personally, like when I buy soda or cola, I buy RC, which is neither one of them. But if I had to choose between the two, I mean, I don't really care. Fine. There are times where I like one over the other. Here.
Oh shit.
Looking at Reddit, I typed the phrase, "Sorry, we don't have Coke, is Pepsi okay?" into Google, and it brought up a post on Reddit in r/Ask an American, and the title is "Sorry, we don't have Coke, is Pepsi okay?" All right, weird question. But how do you feel when you go to a restaurant, order a Coke or Coke product, and they say, "Sorry, we don't have Coke, is Pepsi okay?" Personally, I find Pepsi to be absolutely vile. Top comment. What pisses me off is when you ask for a root beer and they offer Dr. Pepper or Mr. Pibb instead. Like, what the fuck, are they not even similar? Next,
No root beer in My America?
next top comment
I
is,
mean-
"I'll have water then, thank you."
There are some places that just will call any soda a Coke.
Yeah, it's become that,
I mean, I
Yes,
know
it's synonymous with it.
it's like somebody saying, "Hey, do you want to like if you go to say, hey, do you have a pop?" It's kind of the same. It's the same idea. So, I mean, like I said,
There's not a mainstream soda called Pop.
if it's fizzy, the only thing I don't like is when they give you caramel colored water. Is that seltzer water when when the stupid bag runs out and somebody doesn't change it? But that's a totally different subject.
Bro, there's such a big meme about Pepsi. Oh my gosh. When the waiter says, "Is Diet Pepsi okay?" And I respond with, "Is Monopoly money okay?" And there's so many
It's weird.
different posts with so many different variations of that phrase. "Is Monopoly money okay?" Gosh, I didn't
I'm
realize
weird.
this was such a big thing.
I'm weird with that because like there's sometimes where I want Pepsi like just as a standalone drinking. I like Pepsi by itself better than Coke. But if Coke's mixed with something, I'd rather have Coke. Or well, if it's a mixed drink, I'd rather have Coke.
Let's see. I'm going to grab this picture and use this because this is the closest to what we're talking about. It's this meme, which I will blow up so you can see it, and then scooch it back down before I get copyright striked. And I'm going to put it in B.
I'm gonna go grab my food.
It makes me vehemently angry. But once I have a drink in my hand and food in my stomach, I forget all about it. Doesn't excuse it, though. Don't sell Pepsi products if you're not going to sell Coke, too. Quit having exclusive contracts, and quit deciding that your customer's experience is of a lesser priority than you making a couple dollars more. You're not that guy. You're not that company.
You're not that company.
Nope. That's going to be it for today, though. We have been at this for 2 hours and 15, going on 16 minutes. And I think we've covered a good bit of ground. We added quite a few things. We added mosquitoes. We added... let me get out the magnifying glass here. Texting while driving. Whatever the SpongeBob thing was. Whenever you get a call at a bad time. Engagement bait. Bright headlights. Stupid loud vehicles. Our apologies, we are temporarily out of this item. Muscle pain. Leaving the blinker on. Cat fights. Not having Coke products. Whenever you get interrupted by people. Bumming your vape. And video games inaccurately depicting things. So that was that. That was annoying things tier list for today. And we're gonna go ahead and close up shop and get back to the shenanigans. But Flava, thank you so much for stopping by. Always a pleasure to have you. Name and Noel, thank you for stopping by as well. Thank you for hanging out. Jack, appreciate you hanging out as well. Thank you. David Lewis for stopping by in the beginning and starting us off. Appreciate it. Adrian from Australia. Duarte with the mosquitoes. Villenard with your Canadian self. Appreciate y'all. And we will strike this up again at a date or late. I don't know
Bye.
if you could tell that I farted, but it's always how this ends. Like, I always pass gas within about 5 minutes of ending the stream. It's always the way. I just don't know what to do anymore.
And air